Before you use information in a paper or a project, or even share it kind of casually amongst friends or family members, it's good to take some time to think about why you are sharing this information and if it's credible or appropriate to share or use. The 4 moves lay out this process: stop, investigate the source, find better coverage, trace claims or quotes. They were originally coined in 2019 by Mike Caulfield, a researcher at the University of Washington Center for an Informed Public. These are a semi-linear process, and here's how I usually go through them. Stop is the initial action, but it can be more of a pause, especially with more casual sharing of information. This is when you should start to think about why you want to share or use a source of information. For example, is it just for fun, or is it something that you're going to be including in a research project? Once you've given yourself a moment, move on to the other 3 moves. I often start by investigating the source. Think about who the author is, what group or individual is putting this out in the world. Start looking for some third-party information about the source, not only what they say about themselves, but also what others say about them, both positive and negative. If it's an individual author, ask if this person has credentials or a lived experience that give them expertise on the subject. Do they have a particular bias or a particular message that they are trying to get across? Same things for groups like think tanks, government organizations, or even nonprofits. Consider if they are trying to sell you an ideology or persuade you to a cause. If it's a for-profit company, are they trying to sell you a product or a service with this information? Biases are not necessarily bad, but being aware of their point of view gives context to the information that they are sharing. Then I like to delve deep into the source's content and trace any claims, quotes, and the images or video included back to the original source. If it's an academic source, you can follow footnotes and citations back to the original research that they're citing pretty easily. But also consider how that initial source is using those citations. For example, are they agreeing or arguing with the source they are citing? For more popular sources, maybe it's something like doing a reverse Google image search to see the complete picture and if the source has changed the image that they are using in some way. If it's a news source, can you find the report or press release that they're quoting from? Can you find similar quotes coming from the same elected official or spokesperson in other sources? This might entail a lot of Google searching, and also be very wary of AI-created content that hasn't been fact-checked. I usually like to find better or trusted coverage after I've looked into my source and the author, and also tracing back those claims. Think about if the source has left something out and where you need to find that additional coverage. Maybe you found a critique or a commentary and you're going to want the original report or research that they're commenting on. Maybe you actually want to look at the data a researcher developed. Finding better or more trusted coverage can also be finding sources that are more objective and less emotive, so instead of rage bait, find a less biased source. These 3 moves can send you down a rabbit hole, so use stop again to think about how much time you are spending versus your intended use. Is your time being well spent? If it's a matter of health and safety, you really do need to spend more time. If you are basing your own research on a source, you want to be more critical and more evaluative. If it's just for entertainment purposes, maybe your dive does not need to be as deep. But thinking critically about the information that you're using and sharing will help stop the spread of mis- and disinformation. So remember, stop, investigate the source, find better coverage, and trace claims, quotes, and media before you share.